My name is Joseph Tittel, aka Spiritman. On April 11th, 2020, I gathered together with 10 of my apprentice graduates. So together, the 11 of us could work together in meditation and going on a journey with our guides, angels, and allies, along with the heartbeat of the drum, in order to access information that could be useful or hold benefit for the current global pandemic. This is what we got. You be the judge. I flew to the upper world. I jumped into the flames like I would. Jumped into the flames of the upper world. And I flew onto a vulture. I was on a vulture flying up to this upper island. I call them the upper islands. I don't know if anybody visited one yet, but there's upper islands up there. They're in the clouds. I visited quite a few of them. And the turtle greeted me. He was all like fancy smancy. He moved faster. I'm like, usually you'd be following a turtle saying, you think you can move a little faster? he was big, I guess. Anyway, I think he might have been a tortoise, to be specific. And the only other, it was weird. I get weird stuff. The date May 23rd kept coming up to me. May 23rd. And then May 30th. I got the dates May 23rd, May 30th. I have no idea what that means. If I were to assume, I'd say May 23rd would be a date that maybe everything comes to a complete end, or between those dates of the 23rd and 30th, but I did get them separately. Also, I saw this dark smog. It was really interesting, and it like danced. It was like stripes in the air. They were like almost like dancing demons, dancing through Germany. I'm not sure what that meant, but they were dancing through Germany. Then I saw, of course, a bunch everywhere. Everybody had masks on their face, white masks. But I kept thinking that was like either China or Japan. But I was thinking it was more Japan. Actually, going there, I was flying above the earth. And I saw 3 volcanoes that looked like some, almost like the pyramid, small, medium, large. And they were all kind of, the 3 of them were together. And I kept seeing that. And one was starting to ooze. So I'm thinking that there's a place where there's 3 volcanoes that would look like what I saw, that have something to do. And volcanoes do eruptions. We are in an eruption on the planet, if you think about it. And eruptions, volcanoes burn ash and such. So we'd have to interpret that and look that up. I also saw the upper Mississippi River up near the Ozarks, up higher. I would have to point on the map. And I kept getting pointed there, and it felt like everything was shaking. So maybe there's something with that. I talked about the Ozark Mountains, the underground city that's up there. And I talked about in my predictions that Mother Earth would strike back and point out where the darkness hides. You know, kind of like a meteor hitting an area, or an earthquake in an area where they're hiding. So that's what I thought of when I saw that upper Mississippi quake. Because I know the Ozark Mountains, they have that underground city that the government refuses to admit that they have, but everybody knows they do. Then I saw Africa. And if I was looking at the continent of Africa coming down like this, it was the right side. And all I can explain was there was a wall of something coming. I would think of like an odd storm. And that's what I kept thinking, like an odd storm, something odd, something not particular to Africa and that part of Africa. That could even be a tsunami wave. I don't know what that was, but I can also, being that we journeyed on this thinking of the current global situation, that could be that this is going to sweep over Africa and head that way next. That would be one interpretation. I saw the fox. You know, and the fox was there after I went into this island and I met this goddess lady. I flew back off and saw the other few things as I was flying back off and coming back out of this journey. That's when I saw a big wave going across. I was like flying over the ocean past Hawaii. And I saw this big line in the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, big white line. And it seemed to me, and the water was vibrating where, you know, if the water vibrated, it makes that little circles that go like that. It was like that. So again, I would interpret that that would be like an earthquake, and the line would be like a tidal wave or a tsunami, and it was heading up towards. I have to look at a map and tell you, but I'm going to say up towards Japan, maybe.
And then the white rabbit that sometimes meets up with me, led me to a bridge, and I laid down and just like relaxed. I saw like two black holes standing in front of me that looked like big nostrils. Into like these this like Mount Rushmore face.
Right.
So then it turned into that, one of the, I guess it was like I was looking up one of the notions of when the Mount Rushmore,
right.
whatever. And then a huge amount of energy rushed through my body, like actually, and I was just started shaking. So I don't know what that was all about.
I also take that as the whole vibration of an earthquake.
Could be.
Which again doesn't necessarily mean a real earthquake physically. It could mean an earthquake coming in for humanity.
And I saw this, like a bunch of these shapes right here. And they just were like all over the place.
Right.
And it turned into this. Like I had to go into that thingy. It was like this little tube thing. So I went into that, and inside it was this. This is what it looked like inside, and it was blue. It looked like a blue slidey sort of thing, but that's the shape that was.
Well, blue is all about healing and rising. You went in something, so something's rising up in a healing manner.
The shapes were waves.
Waves. I said waves. I said that big wave.
Yeah, and then it turned into that big old whirlpool sort of thingy. Maybe that's what it was. And that's when I saw that blue slidey thing, like with all the, like it was all smooth and flowing.
There was a big eye looking at me, and it turned out to be a dragon. I followed this dragon up. The dragon was flying around the moon, and it wasn't from the dragon, I don't think, but there was like a white streak of light, which I thought, I don't want to say what it is because I don't know, but it was a big streak. So the dragon was to my right, swirling around the moon, but then it was very dark, but we were up in the sky, I guess, and there was a streak of like fire or light, but it looked more orange than like a lightning bolt, you know what I mean? And I imagine it came down on an island.
It came from the moon to an island, or?
Well, not from the moon, just from the sky. I couldn't tell if it was like, I was thinking, in my head, I'm thinking a missile or a bomb or something. It was like crazy. But it wasn't in the United States. It was like overseas. It was overseas.
Or a volcano erupting?
Yeah. Well, when you said that, there's a couple of things that you said that just I totally connected with. But one thing, there was a woman there, and she had paint on her cheeks, on her face. And I started crying because she was talking about the earth was poisoned and they had grown food in it anyway and fed people. And it made a lot of people sick. There was a man that was turning from a man to a wolf or a fox, which I couldn't tell, which was also, somebody said fox already.
I did.
It was like more like a fox, like someone very sneaky that was hiding, transforming or something.
A fox, size of fox, sneaky.
That's what I was thinking of. There was a little chipmunk that was coming up out of a hole and showed me that there was either mountains or something. I felt like that was closer to us. So like the land was just sinking out west. It was just sinking. It was like it made me think of sinkholes when there's like a hole underneath the ground and something happens, it finally just gives way and just falls in and just everything just, and it was huge. I mean, it was huge. It was like massive. I also saw a lot of crosses. It reminded me of when I went to Hawaii before and we saw a really big, like a military grave.
Were they white? Yep,
all these white crosses. I I don't know if it was Hawaii, but I was on an island, and there was like a big wake, like where, like when a ship would go through water, and leave a trail of like the white wave.
Right? That's what I saw, the white wave.
But it was like, I was thinking of a ship, some type of ship coming through, but.
So it could be a tidal wave instead of tsunami.
Maybe. Because when we were coming out so quick, I physically felt like I was shaky. Like, I was shaky, which that didn't happen before.
And I went through the woods to the lake, and there were waterfalls. I was told to go into waterfalls and swim. I mean, into the water, into the lake, and swim. So I did. All of a sudden, I saw I didn't see the building, but it was like kind of like terrace, like a balcony type of thing, and I saw people sitting there and talking about something. I didn't hear what they were talking about, but they were like discussing something like important. And then I saw the streets. I didn't feel like coming out of the lake, but I just all of a sudden like I was on the streets, and it felt like it wasn't here, or it wasn't like this time, or I don't know, maybe it was just wasn't like, here where I live. It might be somewhere in Europe, somewhere, and that's how it felt for me, like the narrow streets and the very little people, only some, like this, what's happening now, like, not many people, like one or two, or it was like so empty.
Italy would be my first thought.
It felt like,
they have real narrow streets.
Yeah, because I wasn't in Italy. Yeah, it felt like that. Back, like from the journey here, and I wanted to get up. I realized that my lower back is like, I have a pain there. I even have it right now. Like, the pain is still there, but like around my second chakra and like on the sides.
Right. Lower back, the emotional cause of lower back is lack of financial support, fear of money and finances, which would make a lot of sense to, again, narrow streets of Italy and the collapse of their economy.
What is coming, yeah.
Yeah.
I just felt that, and I'm like, was so surprised that it's like, what is, I was fine all this time, and all of a sudden it's like, it hurts. Yeah.
I mean, that makes so much sense, the economical stuff.
Here I met a spider. I just saw her face, her big face, which was huge, like you described too, how the spider's not a small spider, it's a huge spider. And she said, would you like to see a vision of the world of Mother Earth and how she feels now? And what I was given as a vision was, she was crying black tears, just a ton of tears coming down, flooded tears, and the sadness and the darkness and how sad she was. From there, I went to, I think Maggie had white crosses. I had black crosses that were in flames. It was fire all over the place, and there was crosses, and everything was just burning up.
That's interesting. That could be like she saw, because you came second. She went first. She saw the white crosses, and now you're seeing them black, charcoal, and burning.
Yes.
So that puts those two pieces together. Totally puts those two pieces together.
Right.
That would be volcanic.
Yeah, and that's where I went next. I went to a South Pacific island. I saw spewing volcanic lava coming out of, and then I see little bodies like getting carried away by the lava. So in the South Pacific, that was where I asked where it was.
I was walking, of course, on the concrete, and a rhino.
Oh, no, go away. I saw a rhino too. Thank you. I totally saw a rhino too. That's weird. Oh my God, I gotta write that down. In the African, when I said I saw the wall coming, I saw a rhino, I saw a giraffe, and I saw a zebra.
Oh my God.
Thank you for telling me that. Oh my God. You said, oh my God, why? Did you see one of them too?
Yeah, I seen zebra and giraffe, but the rhino was the one that really stuck to me.
That's interesting because at first I thought it was a hippopotamus and I got like yelled at my journey. No, that's a rhino.
Yes, that's the same thing that happened. I thought it was.
Whoa.
And they said, no, it's a rhino.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So what else?
So the rhino, I was talking and asking the rhino his name. And I kind of got the name. It was a little blurred, but I got it. And he used his nose to fling me upward. And then I connected with an angel again. The angel shot me straight up. So now I'm past the clouds, and I arrived. As I arrived, I was speaking to, I actually seen a lot of my ancestors that passed away. And it was a lot of hugs, kisses, you know. And it was my uncle, my aunt, great-grandmother, my sister, you know. And I asked them what's going on, you know. Yeah, I have a sense of what's going on. And they was like, yeah, they seem so anxious because they know a big event is coming. They can't wait. Then finally, the angel brought me back down, and I thanked the angel and the rhino.
What kind of big event? Any idea?
I think what you were saying, they seem so anxious. I know that. I think the light taking out the dark coming. Some big event is coming. That's what they told me.
I was met by my white tiger, one of my allies, and I hopped on his back and we rode through a forest. And at one point he stopped. There was a tree and there was a gentleman in robes. Then I knelt in front of him and he put his hands on my head for a while. He said, I've been waiting for you. And then we had a long embrace. And I asked him his name. And this is interesting because all through my life, the word or the name Anton always came to me. And I thought I was maybe Anton in my last life or in another lifetime. And he said, no, that was his name. And I'd always ask what a guy's name was. I would never get it at the time, but I'd get it at other times. And so he's been trying to tell me his name for years. I asked him about the tunnel I went to on the journey on Wednesday. And he said that it's not a morgue. I don't have the right word for it, but it's all these people that are in suspended animation waiting to supposedly revive after all the changes are done. And he said, nice thought. He said, one problem, the tunnels are going to be destroyed. None of them are going to make it. I didn't associate the tunnels with what I saw this time. I talked about the rings, the lakes, the hotels, and all of that, but this is the first time I saw or got that aspect of it.
Yeah.
So I laid down, and he said, every night before I go to sleep, kind of funny, there was this little frog in this doctor's suit, and it comes walking along, and it's real little, and I'm laying down, and it's crawling up on me, and it's like when it gets to the top, it's like huffing and puffing, like it just climbed a mountain or something, and then this real funny voice that said, I'm going to help you, and I'm going to show you what to do from here. And he crawls down and he knocks on my chest. And a door opens. And he sticks his head in and he starts screaming, begin the process. And he slams the door. And he said, now all the little men that are in your lungs are going to clean your lungs every night that you ask them until they're totally repaired. And so he says, now you need to get up and you need to breathe. You need to breathe deep. Breathe as deep as you can. And the next thing I knew, I sneezed and he went tumbling away. Your enlightenment will come easier. Don't make it harder than it really is. Keep it short, keep it simple.
I don't know what it means, a lot of it, but somehow it goes together. When I got there, I was met by my little squirrel friend, and he took me and immediately dropped into the underworld. I got there and it was dark. The ground was shaking. There were loud booms all around me. There were, I don't know if it, I mean, they were really loud.
You were in the underworld?
Yes, and they were really loud. Like, I felt the earth moving, and I've never felt that because I've never experienced an earthquake. I sat on this rock, and there were flashes of light in the sky. They were bright, but they weren't white. And they would flash, and it wasn't like lightning. It was more from one side to the other. The number 7 kept coming up. 7, when 7 come together, I don't know what that means. I saw like little puzzle pieces, and when they come together, I don't know what the 7 is, but that's where that came in. All of this is a preview. It's kind of like when you see a preview to a movie and they just show you a little snippet so that you'll be interested in what's going to happen and you want to see the movie. That's what this whole virus thing is. It's a little snippet of what's to come. I mean, some people are going to be interested and want to go to this movie and participate, which is our life, and other people are just going to walk away. I had a very anxious feeling as we were coming out, almost to the point of heart palpitations and kind of like, I don't know if you've ever experienced a panic attack or anxiety, but that's what it felt like. My heart was racing, and it felt very overwhelming. The 7's important. I don't know what the 7 is.
7s are always important.
It came.
I went up to the upper world, through the clouds again. That sucked in. Still lots of clouds. But I felt like Mama Spider was there. But I heard, stay home, wait it out, and enjoy the awakening. Saying that.
Mama Spider.
Mama Spider. And I kind of felt like she was saying that, like, my spiritual awakening was kind of in line with the planet. She also said, breathe the planet.
Do what, the planet?
Breathe the planet.
Breathe it? Like breathing?
Yeah. So I did this meditation with Bridget Murphy. She was doing this meditation, Breathe the Planet. She was having everyone, like, put out their breath to the world, like, to your family, and then going through the world, you know, all over the world. Like, we were breathing for people. Like,
right.
So it's kind of feeling like she was saying that I should be doing that again and again and again.
I have no doubt.
I saw a lot of baby spiders running around.
All right. That's a birth, without a doubt, a rebirth.
Okay. And then the very last thing I saw was like a big, huge tree stump with a hole in the middle.
A tree fell with a hole in the middle.
There was just the stump, just like a round circle stump with an empty.
It fell, though?
No, I just saw the stump.
Tree stump.
And it was kind of like coppery color, and I felt like it was a sequoia tree.
I was shaking coming out of it. Almost like when you wake up too quick and you see a little kid kind of go, oh, they're like shake, like that is how I felt.
Hey, what I tell you, we can't make this shit up.
Well, when she said that, I was just like, oh my gosh. I thought that was just me having, like, because I was upset with the food and people being poisoned from the growing food in this poisoned soil. I was like, ugh.
From there, I met a dragon, and I was thrown to the upper world, where I think at that point you were saying that is there a message that, you know, any last things that you are to find out about this journey? And my message was the earth now has gotten a chance to pause. That's what the word was. She needed to pause so that she can clean it out and heal.